tonight, and I'm sure she's going to let me know if I am not correct. So let me put everybody here on gallery so I can see all of y'all now. I didn't put on my makeup and everything, so I want everybody's camera on tonight. I don't care if you getting ready to go to bed or whatever. We're gonna have some fun because that's what we do. So come on in the chat. Let me see where you're from in the comments. Let me see where you are from so I can give you a shout out. Excited to be here, and we've got a lot going on as usual. I'm going to be making some announcements as well. I'm telling you, can you believe that it is darn near May? In Maryland, it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes I feel like it's still winter. But how's everybody doing? So let's see who's here. Let's see. Is it Chandra? I hope, or Chandra. Am I saying that correctly? From Texas. Hey. Texas in the house. Rosina from Woodbridge. Cheryl Hackett, California. Let's see. We got Sammy from Philly. All right. We got Joyce from Pittsburgh. Okay, Pennsylvania is in the house. Okay, Mary from New Jersey. Karen from Cincinnati. Debbie from San Diego. Debbie, it's a little early there, but what I would give to be in San Diego right now. I know the weather has got to be awesome. Sybil from Maryland. Darlene vacationing in Florida. Now, how you gonna do us like that, Darlene? You in Florida, and then you from Georgia, so it's not like it was cold in Georgia or anything. But good evening, everybody. Come on in. It's WealthyU Wind Down Wednesday. I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder and CEO of WealthyU, where through community, coaching, and our curriculum, we teach women how to build their first seven-figure investment portfolios so that they can achieve the financial success that they desire and they deserve. And we have many of you who, man, I've been watching the wins in the WealthyU community, and you guys have it on and popping. So what do you think we're going to talk about tonight? What do you think? What is on my plate tonight? What do you think we're going to talk? Well, first of all, April is Financial Literacy Month. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And for those of you who are watching, we are streaming on several platforms tonight. So I want to acknowledge that. You may be watching me on the Deborah Owens page. You could be in the WealthyU community. And by the way, if you haven't joined the WealthyU community, you need to do so. And in the comments, if we could, let's let folks know, just go to bit.ly WealthyU community. That's the quickest way to get there. If you're watching me on YouTube, same thing. We have a free Facebook community where every day we're talking about investing. A lot of things going on today, by the way. We have Coinbase just came out. I don't know if you guys heard about that, them going public. I know a lot of women in the WealthyU community were getting their wealth on buying that stock. But before we get started, it is WealthyU Wind Down, so I want to invite all of you to get your favorite glass of vino. I am drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon, and this is, we're actually going to Napa Valley, and this is a Sterling Vineyards wine out of Napa, and they have several different, some of it is like way up here. This is the more WealthyU, I won't say budget conscious, but I will say it can fit your budget if you want to try this. This is a Sterling wine. So to be honest with you, I was not a red wine drinker until the past year or so. They say it's healthier for you. I don't know if I'd say that. And by the way, guess where I got this? Not only am I practicing what I preach, but we actually got this at Costco. Child, did y'all know? Costco got it going on. Plus, they have their own wine. So, yeah, Costco is now the largest wine distributor. So, they've got wine, their own winery as well. So, Costco, COST, that stock's been doing phenomenal. You know what? Something else, and I digress. Just if you've never been to WealthyU Wind Down, just know I'm a keep it popping here on the investment scene, talking about that. But did you guys know, I just read this, that Costco does not make its revenues from all of those products they sell in the warehouse. Do you know where they make their money from? Memberships. Is that awesome? So, I mean, they are literally, you know, I'm going to tell y'all, I go to Costco for gas. You know what I mean? Like now, because it's just my husband and I, we're empty nesters. We don't buy as much food there because it's ridiculous, right? Like you buy some chicken, girl, it'll be freezer bitten 5 times over by the time you get to all of it. But I digress. So it's WealthyU Wind Down. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight, what I wanted to talk about is the Financial Literacy Month, but a study that just came out. Now, if you guys aren't linked to me on LinkedIn, you need to connect to me on LinkedIn. Okay, so if you're not on LinkedIn, at our next masterclass, I have someone who's going to be coming to really show you the importance of LinkedIn. Your network is your net worth. We talk about it all the time. Are you in a circle or are you in a cage? Ladies, you are the average of your economic condition is the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And so if you want to go to the next level, you want your relationships need to go to the next level. Certainly that's where what WealthyU is about, really connecting you with other like-minded women. So if you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, you need to connect to me on LinkedIn for a number of different reasons. Our content on LinkedIn is a little different in that a lot of the information that we're sharing on LinkedIn really is around trends, specifically impacting the Black community. You guys know that is my focus. But the content that we're posting on LinkedIn, I want you guys to be aware of it. Now, a study just came out and it talks about millennials. Now, how many of you are millennials or you're the parents of the millennials? In the comments or the chat, let me know. Are you the parents of millennials or are you a millennial yourself? Okay, let me know that. How many of you, because it's real, okay, parent, millennial here, got you, Grace. Oh, there's my little Grace, okay. Okay, excellent. All right, so I am the parent of 2 millennials. And here's what I want to say. The study came out and it really, this is just to me eye-opening. And so if you're looking at the, I'm going to go on speaker group just for a minute for those of you who are watching me here on Zoom. But basically what that statistic is saying is that millennials, because of the debt they are carrying, it's like they're being left behind, right? And so as many of you know in WealthyU, if you've been to any of my master classes, if you've been to any of our workshops, one of the points that I've been double clicking on in this community that really bucks conventional wisdom is the fact that the financial success roadmap we were given said, go to school, get a college degree. Student loan debt is good debt. The way you're going to build wealth is through home ownership. Focus on the more education you have, the more money you can make. And we all know that that was a myth, and that simply, specifically for Black Americans, even more so, did not pan out. And so what is happening and what we're seeing with, and here's another fact, that the oldest millennial will turn 40 years old this year. Think about that for a minute. And millennials have now exceeded, they are now the largest segment of the population. At one time it was baby boomers, right? But now it's the millennials, is this large segment, and they are carrying a huge amount of debt. And so much of that debt is student loan debt, right? And so as a parent of two millennials, one of the things that, I won't say that it was intentional, because when our first child, our son, was born, I had just started in the investment industry. In fact, I was with Fidelity Investments. I had just started with Fidelity Investments. And it was at that when he was 2 years old, they had just introduced the Michigan Educational Trust, which is the 529 plan. And so they had the 529 plan, they had the prepaid tuition program. And, my husband and I, we said, well, we were the first in our family to attend college. And at that point, I hadn't graduated college yet. My husband's a graduate of Michigan State. And we said, wouldn't it be great if we could just take care of that one goal? So, we weren't making a lot of money, but we put our little pennies together. And I think that for 5 years, we paid something like $250, and he was guaranteed a 4 years of tuition at any state school. Or if he went to a different school, it would be whatever the state national average was. Okay, so sure enough, as soon as we made that investment, like 2 years later, they shut it down, because they had miscalculated how fast education costs were going to grow. And so as a result, but we still had our contract. And then anybody else starting at the same time had to pay almost double what we did, right? So I was really, really intentional about our kids not having a lot of student loan debt. And even then they were talking about how the cost of college tuition was rising and blah, blah, blah. So with my daughter, we did a mutual fund. And in fact, I invested in through Fidelity, a variable universal life policy, and so was overfunding that above and beyond what the life insurance premium was, and investing in mutual funds. So here's all I would say. If I had it to do over, I would have did a prepaid tuition program for her. Because when Brandon decided to go to University of Maryland, his 4 years of tuition right on point. However, the room and board was more than the tuition, right? So, the deal we had with our kids was, hey, this is what we got. Now, if you want to go to some other highfalutin school that's going to be way above what we have saved or what that prepaid tuition program was going to pay, it's on you. And so, the good thing is that Brandon, because we did that prepaid tuition program, came out, he didn't have very much. And in fact, he's paid it off, right? Whereas Olivia, because, I'm not going to get into the real situation of the situation, but let's just say that her taste was a little higher in terms of room and board. So as a result, she ended up with more. And so I say all that to parents and to those millennials now who are becoming parents, that you this should be a lesson. Now, I'll be grateful if they like forgive some of the student loan debt, because clearly this is not what people signed up for. I mean, literally, my first year, and I'm dating myself, at Oakland University, I think I paid something like $500. You know what I mean? For both semesters. And I think I may have qualified for some loan, but it wasn't much, right? Whereas now, what is room and board? Room and board, even when my kids were in, man, it was like 7,500, some 15,000. I mean, if you're not staying on campus, man, that stuff really adds up, right? And so the point I want to make is that it is so important that when you are looking at financing your students' education, or your own for that fact, that you're very strategic about it. So let's talk about so when I finished my undergrad, Fidelity paid for part of that, right? Tuition reimbursement program. And then when I decided to, even after I left Fidelity, starting consulting, when I decided I wanted an MBA, I took a corporate job with a company that was going to pay. And I was real frank with them. You know, they had been a client. I said, hey, this is something what I want to do. You're going to pay for this, give me tuition reimbursement. At first they said, oh, well, you have to work some time, or but you got to negotiate, right? So then the company literally paid for that, most of that. I think a $50,000 MBA ended up being something out of my pocket, something like $9,000. So I say the reason I'm saying all of this is that, and you can agree or disagree with me, that you've got to be strategic about how you finance your kids' education and your children's education. Would you agree or disagree with that? Right? So in the comments or the chat, tell me how many of you or your children are in a situation now where how many of you have Parent Plus loans and your children also have debt? How many? Right. So here's another thing I want to say, is that a really good indicator of whether or not the school that you choose is affordable is if you have to take out personal Parent Plus loans, that is a real big red flag that you are kind of getting out of the zone of affordability. Here's all I want to say is that there's nothing wrong with it. If you aren't like me, where I had that money set aside that, for education. Well, let me just step back for a minute. Okay. Let me be clear with y'all. Okay. This is that I know you want to give your child the best education that they can have. All right? But there is nothing wrong with you saying, Johnny, we don't have it. So how about in high school, you have them studying for, it's the IB, the International Baccalaureate, and they can get college credit. Many of the community colleges now allow students to take classes in their junior and senior year and get college credit. At the end of the day, if they go to community college and then go to a four-year college for those last 2 years, their degree still is going to have, right? It's still going to have whatever that degree's name is. And so the point I want to make is that millennials are being burdened with this debt, but not only the millennials, because I know through WealthyU, we've coached thousands of women, and many of you have student loan debts, and in some cases, it's not your own. So The other thing we talk about in Wealthy You is sharpening your saw, and getting more, staying current, upgrading your skills. But there are several different ways that you can do that. First, take advantage of the programs that you have through your employer, whether they're training or certifications. Secondly, if you're going to take a job, make sure you're negotiating going in what your objectives are, and you're going to position it in a way that it's going to benefit them, right? Because when you increase your skill set, you're going to be able to serve that organization and create more value. And that's really about negotiation. And I'll tell you, that's one of the topics that will come up that we're going to cover in one of our next master classes as well. So the point I want to make is that we must do as much as we can to not allow our children to carry all of that debt, and we're not saddled with it. Because the bottom line is it's going to prevent them from being able to buy a home. That's what's happening. I know this. I'm coaching millennials too, and they go to pay for a loan and they're like, you've got too much student loan debt. You can't qualify for it, right? And then we've got parents who are, nearing 60, and they're still carrying, $40,000-$50,000 worth of debt, which then will not allow them, right, to max out those retirement plans and that sort of thing. So, let me see. Let me go to some comments. I just paid my loan off, but my mom had a Parent Plus loan in her name for me. That's right, Grace. So mom's going to have to pay that. Had one, but paid it off. Excellent. Oldest child has a loan. That's right, Stephanie. Let's see. Denise says Parent Plus loan. Carolyn said, it's a lot, but I told her she needed to do it on her own. She went to undergrad for free, academic scholarship. Yes, that's awesome. Glenda says, when I graduated, I did so without debt. It was my mom's plan that got me through it. I also worked a work-study program and used that to buy my books and more. You know what, Glenda, I'm so glad you bring up that point, because what is happening is, here's how I know a lot of millennials ended up with a lot of debt. 2008 hit, they couldn't find a job. So what did they do? They took out went and got those graduate degrees, took out those loans, and basically lived on them in some cases. And so that's the other point. Don't take more than you need. IB gave my daughter 2 years of college. She started as a junior and saved a lot. Love it. Nanette says no loans. Education paid for free. My 4 kids, a total of $550,000 in student loan debts. It's embarrassing. Okay, so here's what I want to talk. This, WealthyU, we're not in the shame and blame game. Is that right, WealthyU sisters? Tell them we're not in the blaming and shaming you. So I'm gonna be transparent. I'm gonna give my opinion. Now, if it is a situation, then we got to figure out how to get out of that situation. And one of it is to be strategic. Now, one of the things that you can do if you are carrying a lot of student loan debt is kind of a cost benefit analysis. And so there are loan forgiveness programs that if you are working for a public institution, and you work for them, I think it's over 10 years, then they'll forgive those loans. And for some people, it really makes more sense to, in the earlier part of their career, do a sort of get paid less at a public institution that's like government, hospital, research, public institutions, to pay off that debt. So that's one way of getting that debt paid off. The other thing is there are many companies now who are agreeing to, just like they have tuition reimbursement programs, who are agreeing to pay a benefit to pay off student loan debt. And so that's the point I want to make, to be strategic. Now, The other reason that this topic is so important, because there's another statistic that really hit me, right? And what that statistic says is that because millennials are carrying all this debt, they're really feeling like, I got to pay off all this debt before I invest. Big, 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 big mistake, right? 47% of millennials believe they shouldn't invest until they've paid off all their debt. Now, I'm about to get on my high horse, y'all. And one of the reasons for that is, that has been like a strategy that has been espoused by many so-called financial experts, right? They'll tell you, well, pay off all your debt before you start investing in your 401k. And that is foolishness. Do you hear me? It's foolishness. Because the one thing you need to be successful in investing is time. And so if you're waiting, planning, I'm going to wait till I pay off all these bills, I'm going to wait till I do this, I'm going to wait till that I do that, guess what happens? Is time gets away. And so what I want you, as if you're a millennial, what I want to say to you is you have to do both. Now, I talked about a number of different strategies to eliminate that debt. What are some strategic moves that you can make as it relates to going into a career that can pay that debt off, help you pay that debt off. But what I would say is this is why it's so critical. Well, Tamika, I wasn't going there, but I'll let you say it, right? I'm not going to throw stones at people, but you guys know who I'm speaking of specifically. But it's not only one person. There are a number of personal finance experts and bloggers who espouse that pay off all your debt before you invest. No, right? And so really the point that I'm making is, for many of you, if you don't contribute to your 401k plan, you're going to pay more in taxes anyway, right? Not that there are thousands of employers matching your contributions anymore, but then you'd forego that, and that's like having a raise. The other point I want to make up, and it's really interesting, I've been, as the WealthyU community and the WealthyU society has grown, and we've really taken a look at the different options that people have. You know what? Here's another tip I want to say for many of you, and that is to make sure that you're investing in your employee stock options programs. And in addition to that, early in your career, don't be afraid to take less money to go with a startup. I'm going to say this again. Don't be afraid of earning less money to go with a startup with potential. And that brings me to the story of today. So today, Coinbase, the cryptocurrency firm, digital currency, started out in somebody's apartment in 2012. Nas, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, invested, they said from 100,000 to 100 to 500,000 in their very early stage round. And now, oh, no problem, Miko, you can say it, I just can't. And now his investment, they're saying, with Coinbase going public to date, is worth almost $100 million. So I want to talk about this on two levels. From my perspective, if I look at all the women who have been coached in WealthyU, the women who have the most net worth, part of the reason they have that net worth is because they are with an organization that either they started as a startup and got stock options, right? And so when they cashed out, they had a lot of money. or within their organizations, they work for public companies, and part of the bonus structure allows them to receive stock. You guys understand what I'm saying? And so if that is true, okay, then strategically, as you're looking at employment and careers, you want to go with companies who afford you that opportunity. And there's several industries that all right, Karen, let's I know, thank God, right? So there are certain industries that provide that kind of opportunity. And the two largest are healthcare and technology, right? So whether it's the Amazons, the Facebooks, the CVS's, the Anthem Healthcare, when you get to a certain level, and in some cases, when you get to a certain level, you get awarded bonuses as part of your compensation. But here's the other thing for many of you. You are working for companies that allow you to have employee stock purchase programs, right? So I talked about two different things, right? I talked about employee stock options programs, and that's when companies award you options that allow you to buy, are part of your bonus. Typically, what happens, those options exercise at a lower price than what you're going to cash in at. So, an example, right? So, it's 2021. Your employer in June says, okay, we're giving out options. They give out your bonus options and they say, okay, you can have these 500 shares are the can be exercised at $100, and then when you go to sell, that stock is worth 200, so you've got basically $100 gain in terms of a bonus. Are you guys with me? And so I feel like, again, that one of the points I make in WealthyU is that financial literacy is inherited, right? Investment literacy is inherited. These strategic processes that I'm talking about with organizations negotiating bonuses, employee stock option programs, we're often not involved in them, not because they aren't accessible to us, but simply because we don't even know to ask for it. We don't even know to take advantage of it. I don't know how many people I've sat down with who haven't even taken advantage of fully of their employee compensation program. So agree or disagree with me, folks. Talk to me a little bit about if you have, do you know, how many of you know whether or not you have employee stock options programs and whether or not you're contributing to them? Just in the chat, let me see what you got. How many of you work for a public company, meaning they have shares, right? They're public and have an opportunity to invest? Let me just see what's on here. Let me go to Facebook and see what's going on in here. Okay, thank goodness. Parent Plus loan over. Yeah, so let's see what's in the chat. My daughter landed a job with an employee stock option program after I had her ask. Yes, Anita, thank you, because that's exactly what I was thinking about. That you had, and Anita, so question, do you feel like you've been in the you're a member in the WealthyU Society, done coaching? Do you feel like the exposure that you have had allowed you to share that with your daughter? Penny says, I have the option. Okay, Penny, I want to know, are you taking advantage of that option? Okay, Nanette says, I work for the federal government. Right, so they wouldn't. Wow. I work in I get options as part of my compensation. I hadn't even thought of that. So your MGMs of the world, one of the largest, I mean, MGM is the largest casino holding company in the world, I think. Sandy says, I wish. Shonda said, I do, but I stopped because my company also has 15% of their stock in my 401k. Yeah, but I mean, here's that good. I'm going to come back to you, Chandra, because I'm going to talk about a strategy for that. Cheryl says, I'm retired. Stephanie, when I worked at Lowe's, they offer employee stock out. Every time I'm in Lowe's, and before I used to be on Home Depot, but I don't even go in there anymore, but I'm not going to even go into my whole political issues around these different companies. But at any rate, whenever I'm in there and I'm in Lowe's or somewhere or a public company, whether it's TJ Maxx or Marshall's, I'll be talking to those the salesmen. I'm like, now, your company is TJX. Are you taking advantage of their employee stock option program? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you need to be buying this company's stock. TJX is taking over the world. I don't know if you guys have noticed. They have Home Sense, Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, you name it. And they're taking over. And so here's the deal with the employee stock option program. The employee stock purchase program, okay? So the employee stock purchase program, typically what it allows you to do is to buy the stock at a discount, right? So at a discount. So let's say the stock's at $15, you get to buy it at $13.50. So there is a built-in 10 to 15% return. So to Cheryl's point, she already had a number of, in her 401k, a significant percentage already in that stock. Buy it at a discount and sell it. You want to hold it so that you get a long-term gain, because that's a built-in 10. Where can you go and get 10% or 15%? That's the point that I'm making. Be strategic. My company is private. Got you, right? Nita says, yes, and yes. And okay, so Anita says her daughter just started with the company. They offered her stock options. It paid less in salary, but with the stock options. And then the next thing you know, she was getting a job. So this goes to everybody who's listening to me. Everybody who's listening to me. And by the way, if you want to make sure you get to take advantage of more of our training, because we talk about a number of different things about wealth, I want to invite you, depending upon where you're watching me. If you're watching me on the Deborah Owens page on Facebook, make sure you join our WealthyU community so you know when we are doing any type of training. And in fact, I speak for a number of different organizations, and whenever I'm doing workshops, the WealthyU community always knows, and they're able to follow me there. And actually, typically, if there is a cost, I say, well, I get to bring my people with me. So you want to make wealthy in the WealthyU community, you have privileges. So make sure you join our WealthyU community on Facebook. It's just bit.ly, bit.ly, WealthyU community. Answer a couple of questions, come on in and hang out with us. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as well is that, and I'm going to get to your question, who's better for a solo 401k as an independent contractor, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, or Vanguard? Well, it depends, but I'm going to tell you the one that you didn't mention. Actually, E-Trade has the easiest personal solo 401k. They have a number of different. They're not as restrictive. So my top two would be Fidelity or E-Trade. Vanguard, they're kind of limited in terms of what you're able to have access to. They don't have a fund marketplace. Both E-Trade and Fidelity do. Schwab, I've got my own feelings about that company, period. So let's just say two top picks, Fidelity and E-Trade, if you're an independent contractor and you're opening up a personal 401k, which is what I think you're talking about specifically. So, okay, so where was I? What else? Oh, last thing. How many of you participated in our 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge? How many of you participated? Yes. Yes. Okay, well, guess what? Our 5-day Savvy Money Makeover Challenge is back. It starts on May 10th. So if you have any friends who want to sign up for the challenge, they can start signing up for it now. We are going to have so much fun, and you are going to meet some incredible women in that challenge who have done amazing things. You can see that graphic, 5-day Savvy Money Makeover. Deprina, if you will put that in the chat, it's just WealthyUChallenge.com, WealthyUChallenge.com. www.wealthyuchallenge.com. For some reason, you got to put www on it in front of it. But here's what I want you to know. We are going to have some really exciting. We always have our WealthyU goal models come on. Now, what are WealthyU goal? WealthyU goal models are women who have been in the program and who basically share their successes of being in the WealthyU community. And there have been some amazing stories. I mean, if you've been in any of the challenges, you met some fabulous women this time. Many of our ambassadors took the stage. Michelle Smith, Anita Jenkins, Stephanie Bradley Wilson, amazing. We've had just top notch, and they really shared the strategies that they have taken to really accelerate their financial growth. Do you know we have women in this community who basically doubled the amount of their retirement plans, never had a brokerage account. Now they're invested in Coinbase. First thing this morning, Coinbase is going public today. I mean, it's just so awesome to see the level of confidence that many women who had never really invested beyond their 401k, didn't really understand, what they had. And now they're sipping on their coffee in the morning, watching CNBC. At night, they're watching Mad Money, checking out what Jim Cramer has, what he's bullish or bearish on, and, making all those noises and everything. And so I'm so proud of all of them. And so that's my way of, when we go through these challenges, really sharing that they started exactly where many people who have never invested before, have never, didn't know how to analyze or research a stock, heck, didn't even know what the difference between a bid and ask or net asset value. Am I talking to you guys, right? Now you're analyzing, researching stock, going through your criteria, checking out what the analysts are saying. What does Morningstar say for my mutual fund? What's my 10-year average annual return? Yeah, that's the language of investments. That's where, as my man says, the money resides, right? That's what we do. We're taking women where the money resides. And I think the most important thing, though, of it all, and, that's what I want to be really clear. And what I tell our team all the time is, it's not the money, it's the mission. So I want all of you to get this, because invariably I got to double click on this, right? So I'm in a conversation on Twitter. If you haven't, like, here's what I want you guys to know is that I literally am on every platform imaginable, and our social media manager and community, she's just taken the whole thing to a whole nother level, right? Instagram, Twitter, whatever. People, I saw you on Instagram. I'm like, okay, what Deprita got me up there doing now, right? Because Deprita is just an amazing editor. But anyhow, I'm on Twitter, and so somebody says, oh, well, I think I would be really good at investing because, with the little money I've invested, I'm just amazed how I choose things, and they were going on about some of their stock picks. So, me, I'm like, Black women are wired to invest because we know trends and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, said, well, the reason that I knew that was because, I was watching how the charging stations were going up. And I said, man, I bet you that's going to be a good investment, that, hybrid cars, electric cars, that sort of thing. And so I'm really encouraging her, and I'm saying, well, listen, you are good. You're wired to invest. Here, you can do this, you can do that. She says, oh, well, I've got to take care of people, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And I like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm straight and no chaser when it comes to Black women making their financial future a priority. Here's the deal, ladies. I'm a Black woman, and I hear these conversations day after day after day. And it is always that fixed mindset. Now, what is that fixed mindset? That fixed mindset always says that I got to protect what I have and I don't have enough. So we are so worried about not losing that we can't win because we're not in the game. Are y'all with me? Right? Now, here's what I want every woman to understand is that the best thing that you can do to honor your children and your family is to make your financial future a priority, so that in the future, you will not be a burden, nor will you have to rely on them. That is what WealthyU is about. That's why I come on Wednesday nights. That's why we're training, week after week after week. That's why we do the 5-day Savvy Challenge and Money Makeover Challenge. And you guys know we go for 8 or 9 days, even with that challenge. That's why we are so committed to helping 1 million Black women achieve the goal of $1 million in net worth. The reason for that is because if we achieve that goal, we will fundamentally change the financial trajectory and the economic situation of our community. You guys get that? It all goes together, because that is the mission of WealthyU. The fact is that investment literacy and investment knowledge is inherited. And that's why the millennial statistics frighten me. Because if they are thinking that they can't build wealth, that they can't invest till they pay off that debt, the next generation will not fare any better. So this community is about sharing exactly what we have to do to make sure that A, we're making the kind of strategic financial decisions that are going to impact us positively in the future. That's number one. Number two is we have to have the knowledge and create a place to get that information. That's what WealthyU is about. So for all of you who are listening to me, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, whether this is a replay, what I want you to know is the greatest investment that you can make. The investment that pays the best return is the knowledge of how money works. So I know I get a little passionate about this, right? But I want you to really understand the implications and what's at stake. Right? We cannot deny there's a wealth gap. And I cannot deny all of the systemic issues that have us where we are today. But what we have to do is do what we can to change that. And what I'm really, really excited about is seeing thousands of women now learn how to invest, find the money to save and invest. That's why I want you to come to the challenge. Because what I've become to understand is that this is more than money. So much of it is our mindset and our beliefs and our behaviors. And guess what? Those beliefs about money, those behaviors around money, those thoughts around a fixed mindset rather than a growth and a wealth mindset, it all starts, it's all inherited. However your family, your mama did it, if she didn't know how to do it, guess what? You don't know how to do it either. But that's okay. You don't have to be ashamed about it. Where would you learn it? Well, it all starts right here with WealthyU. So again, thank you so much for joining me on WealthyU Wind Down. I'm Deborah Owens, founder and CEO of WealthyU. Love, love, love for you guys to go. And if you haven't participated in one of our challenges before, make sure that you sign up at WealthyUChallenge.com. It starts on May 10th. We're going to have some amazing, amazing women sharing their stories throughout. We're going to have an awesome millennial coming on sharing her story and how in less than a year, this sister is bad. She paid off all her student loan debt. She's got several six figures in the bank, and she hit six figures in her 401k. So if she can do it, so can you. Okay. I've been told, though, before I go, are there any questions? Sandra, it's never too late. It's never too late. Sandra Allen, it is never too late. That's right. Virginia, one of our WealthyU ambassadors, fired up and ready to go. That's right, ladies. So that's going to do it for me this evening, folks. Thanks for coming on WealthyU Wind Down. We'll see you right here next week. And guess what, guys? Stay tuned because tomorrow I may have a special guest and actually do a special session. So if you're not on the email list, get on it. Join the WealthyU community so you'll be on our email list and you'll make this amazing, you'll meet this amazing opportunity tomorrow. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You know, we are always bringing what we can to help you achieve the financial success that you desire and you deserve. Thanks so much. Again, let me thank Deprina for hanging in here with me. That's going to do it for me this evening, folks, and good night.